I had originally written this January 28th. It's now February 2, and it's even more relevant given what has happened in the last 24 hours. We're again on the verge of war on two fronts, China and Russia. The Chinese are trying to assert their dominance over Asia. They have overt actions of military incursions with their aircraft over Taiwan, invading Taiwanese airspace. We have had some U.S. aircraft trying to do something about this. Sadly, they're using the F-35, and while everybody says what a great airplane it is, I don't think so. We lost one, crashed on landing, the pilot got out, airplane's in the water, and they're worried the Chinese will recover it. The Chinese, of course, are trying to assert that they just want to reunify with Taiwan. Taiwan is an independent nation. They don't want to reunify with China. They have a free system and a communist dictatorship. And of course the Taiwanese don't want to be part of that dictatorship where they would be subservient to the Chinese Communist government. Okay, now we move on to the bigger problem, and that's Russia. We need to look at some recent history, and I say recent, in the last 20 years. During the Obama-Biden administration, Russia, i.e. Putin, invaded and took by military force the Crimea, claiming they needed a deep water seaport in the Black Sea. There was very little response from Biden, Obama, or the rest of Europe at all. It was shortly after this happened that they started massing troops along the Ukrainian border and into Ukraine some, claiming these were freedom fighters that were Ukrainians that just wanted to reunify with Mother Russia. Yeah, there's that reunification word again. Well, they didn't want to reunify. They weren't freedom fighters. They were Russian military operating highly technical Russian military equipment. There was, again, very little response from the U.S. or Europe. After all, we don't want to get involved with this. As I recall, I believe Obama sent some MREs to help feed the Ukrainian troops. Nothing really happened until the Russians shot down a civilian airline. I believe it was a Dutch airline, killed a couple of hundred people. And of course the Russians interfered with investigations and recovery of the remains of the people. And it created a very tense situation, but they eventually did back down. Now they're back at it again. Now we have Russian troops massed along the Ukrainian border, and it's time we, the people, took a closer look. Putin's made it quite clear he wants to rebuild the Soviet Union by any means necessary. Now we have to factor in something there, Biden's energy policy, where we had sanctions to prevent the Russians from doing certain things to profit from energy. Biden has removed those sanctions. And now most of Europe is locked into using that Russian oil for their energy needs. They are, in effect, beholden to Russia, and if they do anything to really help Ukraine Biden's going to cut off the oil flow. This is a vital energy supply for Europe. And while the U.S. has the capacity to supply that energy, the infrastructure to do so has mostly been shut down by said Joe Biden. He shut down pipelines. He's blocked oil exploration. He's even gone so far as to shut down some operating wells because they're doing what they call fracking, which is a very effective way to get the oil out that we need desperately. We could meet that need if we had the infrastructure to do it. It would take us time to ramp that back up to where it was before Biden took office. Now, you may be wondering why all the talk of energy and like that. Well, the answer is it makes it incredibly difficult for Europe to stand up and defend the Ukraine or any other area that Putin wants to reassert control over. What's going to be next? Poland? Georgia? Maybe any of the other states that left the Soviet Union. I believe Czechoslovakia, which is now 2 countries. Is he going to take them back because they want to reunify and his troops are just there to assure that their legitimate governments don't interfere with that reunification? We need to be watching this. Where all this really leads is we can be reasonably sure that both Russia and China view Biden as incredibly weak and not likely that he will actually do anything. He may pretend, but they don't see it as likely that he'll do anything. And in fact, there are people out there that are going to say that Russia and China believe that through business dealings with Biden's son, he's bought and paid for. Now, I'm not saying that's true. I'm saying that people within those communist governments might well believe that, and that could create another problem because they're going to look that Biden's too weak to do anything to defend our allies. A real question is how we respond. Well, we've had some minor show of force in Asia. I would hope that another carrier group sent in with F-18s, that anytime they see Chinese aircraft in the air, they launch U.S. aircraft, and when they come to Taiwanese airspace, the flight leader for the U.S. asks them if it's their intent to engage. You may remember the old movie Iron Eagle, where the U.S. F-16 pilot asked the, I believe it's Syrians, if they intend to engage, and they take off and leave the area. Well, I'm pretty sure that's what would happen if 6 or 8 F-18s face some of those Chinese fighters. They wouldn't want to engage. Now there is, again, they're doing a show of force in Europe now. They've sent U.S. ground troops to units, I think, if I heard correctly, and I could be wrong on this, the 82nd Airborne and another ground unit have been sent to be pre-positioned in Europe. Again, this may not be, in my opinion, the best choice, It's certainly a good choice if you want to get us into a land-based shooting war. It'll work for that. I think we would be better off sending aircraft that can stop any incursion, A-10s, F-15 Strike Eagles, AC-130s, and basically announce, you cross the border, you won't get but 10 feet. And that equipment will be stopped. That's not what's happening. As I said, announced today on the news, they've sent U.S. ground troops. I'm worried about this because I'm worried they're going to get us in a shooting war. And how many young men and women are we going to lose as a result of this shooting war? It's scary. Please pay attention to what's going on around you. Even the smallest detail can be important. Pay attention to those little details. If you haven't already subscribed to my channel, please do so. Select the notification bell, and I will be putting videos out stating my opinions on lots of things, mostly political, but lots of things, on a regular basis. Every few days, could be daily, some of them could be 3 or 4 days. Depends on how good I am at writing in a particular day. Thank you for listening to what I have to say. Thank you for being a patriot in this country. Have a nice day, and God bless you all.